This is part 4 of the video series on problems on compound interest. And here we have a problem that says the population of a place increased to 54,000 in 2003 at a rate of 5% per annum. It increased to 54,000 in 2003. Find the population in 2001. So the first part is it is asking find the population in 2001 and what would be its population in 2005. So if we assume that, let's assume that in 2001 the population was X. Let's assume that the population was X. So if we have to calculate that we have the value of population in 2003. So in 2003 the population is 54,000. Now if we take this value, think of this as the principal amount. We have discussed a lot of examples where we discuss about bank loans and all, right? So if we take this as that principal amount X, and if you remember the formula of the amount is equal to principal 1 plus R, that is rate, and N represents the years. Remember this formula? So if we put this at the place of P, that is a principal, if we put this X, because we are assuming that in 2001 the population is X. So if population is X in 2001 and it is increasing at the rate of 5% per annum, here R will be 5% per annum, P will be X, then if you have to calculate that what will be the population after 2 years. So after 2 years it's actually 54,000, right? But if we put this X into this formula and 1 plus 5% and for 2 years, so after 2 years the population is actually 54,000, because it's written here it's increased to 54,000. It means that by every year it has increased by 5%, and after that increase it has reached to 54,000 in 2003. From here you can calculate the value of X. The value of X will come as 48979.59. Now since after decimal point the first digit is 5, right? Therefore you can round it off to 48980, right? Will add 1 to it and it will become 80. So 48,980 was the population in 2001, and we used this formula we have learned when we were discussing about the principal amount and all. Okay, so it's now asking the second question, what would be its population in 2005? So if we take the same rate, that is 5% per annum, now it is asking for 2005. So 2001, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So how many periods? 1, 2, 3 and 4 periods of 4 years. So now here you know this value of 48,980, that is X is equal to 48,980. So if you put here 48,980 in order to find the amount at the end of 5 years. So now we know the value of X. Let's start from 2001. X is the principal amount, that is 48,980. This is 1 plus 5% of raised to the power of 4 years from 2001 to 2005. Now if you calculate this, your value will come as 59,535.49. Now since after decimal point the first digit is 4, therefore if you'll round it off, then you'll get 59,535, right, if you round off it. Now this is the answer for 2005. Okay. In next problem, we have in a laboratory, the count of bacteria in a certain experiment was increasing at the rate of 2.5% per hour. Find the count of bacteria at the end of 2 hours if the count was initially 5,06,000. So it's asking that, let's assume that initially at this point it was 5,06,000. This was the count of bacteria. Okay, it's increasing at the rate of 2.5% per hour. 2.5% per hour. So it's asking that what will be the count of bacteria at the end of 2 hours. So this is first hour and then second hour. Okay, so after 1 hour, then 2 hours. Here it is 2 hours. You have to tell the count. So if you this is the 1 hour, after 1 hour. So first you will calculate for the 1 hour. At the end of 1 hour, what will be the count? So you start with 5,06,000. This is the initial count. So initial count is 5,06,000, and it is increasing at the rate of 2.5%. Now rate is 2.5% increasing. Now 2.5%. This 2.5%, if we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 10, you'll get 25 by 1000. Right? This will be the value. So if initial count is this much, and by every hour it is increasing by 2.5%, 2.5% can be written as 25,000. So tell me, what will be the count at the end of 1 hour, at final count at the end of 1 hour? At the end of 1 hour. So at the end of 1 hour, the final count will be 5,06,000 plus 2.5% of this. 5,06,000, 2.5% of this means that 25,000. Okay, now if you solve it, you will get 5,18,650. This will be the count at the end of 1 hour. Now this is the count at the end of 1 hour. So when you now count for another 1 hour, that is the second hour, for this hour. So for the second hour, the initial count will be what? Will be this one, because it has already reached to this point, and at the end of 1 hour, the count is now 5,18,650. So initial count in this case, in this second period, will be initial count will be 5,18,650. Now rate is same, that is 2.5%. It can be written as 25 by 1000. So at the end of second hour, what will be the final count? So this is the initial count, and it will increase by 2.5% of this initial count. 2.5% can be written as 25 by 1000. If you solve it, you will get 531616.25. Now if you want to write the approx value, then you can ignore this decimal, you can ignore this, and you can simply write this much only. If you have to write the approx value. Okay, so this is the answer. A scooter was bought at rupees 42,000. Its value depreciated at the rate of 8% per annum. Find the value after 1 year. So you have a scooter, okay, you purchased it, bought at rupees 42,000. Of course, after a period of 1 year, its value will decrease because you are using it. So you have to tell that after 1 year, what will be its value if it's depreciated at the rate of 8%. So clearly, you can take this initial value, that is the price of the scooter, as a principal amount, right? The initial amount, you can think of it as principal, that is rupees 42,000. Okay, now it is decreasing, its value is decreasing at this rate. So after 1 year, its amount will be, remember this formula, P amount after n year. This will be the formula after n year. This value gives the amount after the nth year. After the nth year, this is the general formula. Here the rate is increasing, but in this case its value is decreasing. So since the value is decreasing, therefore if you have to find a final amount, A will be equal to P 1 minus R by 100 raised to the power of n. Why? Because here its value is depreciating. So you'll use this formula to find a final amount, that is a final value after 1 year. So after 1 year, if you take this principal amount as 42,000 and 1 minus R is 8%, N is 1, if you solve it, you'll get rupees 38,640. So after 1 year, the value of your scooter will decrease by this rate and it will reach to this price.